This video falls under fair use. Fair use allows commentary, criticism, and reactions. What's up, back with another one, and this clip breaks down Joe Budden's take on the Jim Jones and Kid Cudi beef. So let's check this clip out.
Jim Jones, Kid Cudi, can this be fast?
It's just Jim Jones. Jim Jones is happening. Shouldn't be happening.
Let's tell the audience what happened.
Jim Jones went on a podcast and said what he's been saying, which is, I made Kid Cudi. Nobody gave a f about him. Nobody would know him if it wasn't for me hopping on day and night and getting it hot, which led to him getting a deal and yada, yada, yada. And Kid Cudi woke up one morning, got on the internet. I love when y'all get on the internet and do this shit. Yeah, got on the internet, replied to Jim Jones, and was like, with all due respect, Jim is the OG, yada, yada. But you didn't make me. You're not responsible for me. My record was bubbling already. I was already in talks with Kanye. I was about to get my deal. A bunch of things was happening maybe you didn't know, but I was somebody already, which has caused the internet and those with Wi-Fi to argue back and forth, and people from different eras in hip-hop and different regions of hip-hop. Yeah.
Well, I can say as
eras and regions. It's not. It's both, because you have younger people that are like, who gives a fuck about all of that? We don't. I just heard this Jim yesterday for the first time. Right. I know Kid Cudi. You have younger people, and then you have the
New Yorkers.
Yeah.
As someone who was living in New York at the time, and I was a fan of both parties involved, I heard Day and Night before Jim Jones got on it. I don't even know if I've heard the Jim Jones freestyle in full, honestly, to this day.
That's what I was saying. I was like, nah, I was outside. I was in New York.
In New York, we heard. I was in New York.
Jim Jones.
I was in New York. I was a grown up in New York.
I heard the Jim Jones lot on radio Day and Night. But I heard the original. Put like this, I knew about the original before I knew about the the joint. I do think New Yorkers feel more stronger about this point than outside, because when I see a lot of, and I think it is generational too, but I think a lot of the people I'm hearing defending, if it's something to defend, the Cudi perspective, they're way outside of New York, and they're like, Jim is crazy. I don't think Jim is crazy.
He's not crazy.
I just think he's overestimating the impact of it.
Back in the day, Jim would have just said New York streets. Yeah. His statement is fact,
and radio was extremely important.
That's all. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's where the mess up is. That's where the miscommunication happens. Because you say I made Kid Cudi, you did not make Kid Cudi.
No.
But if you say I made him, where the New York streets were listening to him,
that's fair.
That's fair, and that's a fact.
Okay.
Is it really?
Yes. They wasn't like
on the total other side of this.
Let me ask you a question. So
I'm on the total other side.
And I remember that song. That's when we used to be in Jersey Girls every day.
I love that record.
The Jim version. Me too. I love both. But if Jim don't jump on that song, there's no guarantee that song still don't filter throughout the streets of New York.
It was already filtering in the streets of New York.
So what I'm saying is, when I say the streets, I'm talking about the.
I don't think so.
Fans of Jim Jones.
I don't think it was filtering, man. I remember radio was extremely important back then. Radio was extremely important back then. I remember turning on the radio and hearing Jim Jones' version of Day and Night played consistently.
Day and night.
That's it. In the day, in the morning, and in the nighttime, overnight, they played it. It was
Jim
quick
Jones
rotation.
version at least 10 million times before I knew somebody else was on this record. And then I might have heard the Crookers mix before I heard Kid Cudi on. This is
the EDM.
Yeah,
so that was a big remix.
But the other regions, in some of these conversations, I smell a jealousy on some of you other regions. Let me just say that. Y'all be trying to have one conversation and the jealousy start reeking off you, or the chip you got on your shoulder for New York inventing hip-hop or being arrogant and smug when it comes to hip-hop. And this is one of those talks.
That's fair.
This is one of those talks.
I'm on the other side of that, too. Go ahead.
No, I think Cudi benefited greatly from Jim jumping on the song.
Greatly might be a stretch, but he benefited for sure.
That song's
in New York.
Fish grease. What I'm saying though is no guarantee.
Not New York. Why you keep saying that?
Because outside of New York,
you always on the
we're not gonna do that.
But
today.
Go ahead.
We're not gonna do that today because I love New York too, but I love hip hop Stop, Mark. I love hip hop. We trying to have a real discussion. I love hip hop.
But it's not foul to say that a lot of your opinions.
No, it's just I'm not New York biased, and then because I'm not New York biased, you take it to say anti-New York. There's a difference.
Okay,
I am not New York biased. A lot of times, y'all be New York biased, where if New York is in it, then it's automatically New York is up here.
Well,
New York
hip-hop started though, Freeze.
That's fine, but we're not talking about the start of hip hop. Hip hop has moved on for years. We just celebrated a 50, so we're not talking about the start of hip hop anymore.
This is one of those hip-hop conversations where both sides have a point, but the truth lives in the middle, because Jim Jones definitely helped push the record in New York.
We just talking about why we're biased and why we hold it high.
I understand that.
Also because it's home.
I think people should be biased to where they're from and their,
not just
their
that.
home. I do.
Even with that particular song, you can't necessarily say it helped it in New York, but it didn't help it nowhere else because you don't travel enough to see if it was buzzing somewhere else with the Jim verse. You don't.
Okay, go ahead.
You don't know if it helped it in Atlanta. You don't know if it helped it in this region or this region or this region because you wasn't traveling and outside in these spots to see if when the song came on, they was rocking the Jim version. We only know because we are cemented in New York City, so we know what it did here. Not saying that it did or didn't. I'm just giving a
no. In addition, I'm saying it did.
It helped, bro. It helped.
I'm saying that when that record was on Hot 97, playing the way it was playing, literally day and night. I don't know if who Jim had a relationship up here, but all day long that record came on. Those are spins.
True. Which is
that led to that record being in heavy rotation in New York, in the biggest market. So you can't just say New York when every PD in the nation is looking to see how many spins a certain record is.
What made Jim get on the record
in New York?
Obviously, you heard a song that must have been doing something somewhere.
I'm not saying it wasn't.
So what I'm trying to say, and to your point about travel, this is the blog era when this record comes out. Now we have the internet. This is not just local radio. This is not just regional radio anymore. This is one of the premier blog record songs. So blog era songs. Now you're getting music from all over. You can see this is what we without here. The internet made the world fit in the palm of your hand. It ain't no more you only know what's happening in New York, you only know what's happening down south, you only know what's happening on the west coast.
There's a crew of y'all that overstate the blog era too.
Not just
there's a crew of y'all that downplay the blog era.
But to your point, y'all, when this moment we talking about, blogs was still very much niche. They wasn't the overcompensating, the overarching.
Bro, what years of the blog era do you?
What years are the blog era?
What's the peak?
That song was out when we first started going to Jersey Girls.
What's peak blog era?
I remember that song.
This is still kind of MySpace era, honestly.
Yeah, we're talking about 08.
Joe Budden breaks down the Jim Jones and Kid Cudi by separating influence from creation, making it clear that while Jim Jones played a role in pushing the Day and Night record in New York, he did not create Kid Cudi or give him his career. Joe explains that Kid Cudi was already building momentum before Jim jumped on the song, with early buzz, blog attention, and industry conversations already happening behind the scenes. From Joe's perspective, the disagreement really comes down to era and location, since New York radio held massive power at the time, and Jim's version of the record received heavy rotation that helped the song reach more listeners in that market. Joe emphasizes that this exposure mattered, especially in a major city where radio spins could influence the entire industry, but he also points out that helping a record gain traction is not the same as discovering or making an artist.